You know, there are plenty of videos out here that are showcasing the bad telltale signs of men, showing you what to look out for. I've done some of these videos myself. However, it's all good knowing what to look out for that could be a red flag, but what are some of the green flags that you should start looking for that go, you know what, actually, maybe I've got a catch here? Well, we're about to go through that right now. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kit, your personal dating mentor, and in today's video, I'm gonna go through 6 green flags that you ladies should definitely look for in a guy that you're dating. If a guy has these green flags, I'll be honest, you might have to propose to him right now. But before we get into that, you know I always love hearing from you. So come find me on Instagram, drop me a message and let me know, have you ever met a guy that has any of these green flags? Or not even any. Have you ever met a guy that has all of these green flags? And if you did you make it work? Okay, now let's get into the video. So the first green flag that you should definitely look for when you're dating a guy is, does he have a good relationship with his father? Now, we often say that he should have a good relationship with his mother, right? Because she teaches him about a woman's value, how to treat women, and yes, this is definitely important. But a lot of the time, fathers are left unsaid. And you know what? A big thing in the male space or amongst a lot of young men today is a lack of a father figure, is a lack of strong male leadership. Because if you want a guy who can have strong male leadership, who has a strong foundation, a lot of boys learn that from his father. And it doesn't have to be necessarily his biological father. It's, does he have a strong male figure in his life that he has a deep relationship with? Because the truth is, in this world, men and women, we play by different rules, okay? There are some things that we play the same and there's some things that we play differently. You know, for example, this is why if we see a man punch a man, we go, oh, he just got punched, right? But if we see a man punch a woman, the world stops. There are things that are different about us, and because of that, there are only things that men can teach boys in becoming men, like accepting responsibility for others, being a foundation for those to rely on. That's not saying that a mother can't teach this, but fathers are better equipped to raise boys into men, the same way that mothers are better equipped to raise girls into women. So if he has a strong relationship with his father, that's definitely a good sign. And if that is the case, look at who his father is. Look at the kind of man his father is. Look at how his father treats the family. Look at how his father treats his children, because this is likely going to be a big predicator on the kind of man that he is going to become. So watch out for that one. The second green flag you should look for in a guy is that he's not afraid to tell you no. A man who is unwilling to compromise on his standards just because he wants something is a man that has integrity and has strong moral code. He may really want you, but a guy who is willing to compromise everything just so he can have you, ultimately that's a guy you can't really trust, because what that shows is that if his desire is strong enough for something, then he is willing to compromise himself, and he is willing to compromise his foundation. And that is not the kind of person anybody should want to be with, especially if you're a woman looking for a strong, capable man. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't about him shouting, no, you can't do this or whatever. That's not what this is about, right? It's not about being controlling, because there's a way to say no, okay? There's a way to do things. And more often than not, yes, it can be very important to us how somebody says something. So let's not say that that isn't important, but the fact that he is able to say no to you despite wanting you so much, this is a very great reflection of his character, because it means that you can trust him to say no to other people, especially when it has to do with your relationship that you may have. The next green flag to look for is that he handles temptation like a king. And what I mean by this is that, look, no man is perfect, okay? Men are human beings, they are men, okay? They are going to be tempted by other women. This is natural. However, the character of a man isn't reflected in whether or not he gets tempted, it is how he handles this temptation. The man who goes, oh, I never get tempted, so you have nothing to worry about, that's the guy you should worry about, because it means on the one occasion he does get tempted, he's not going to know how to handle that, and he's going to fail that test. He's going to succumb to temptation. He's going to be led into temptation, as it says in scripture. So observe, how does he handle temptation? And this doesn't have to be necessarily with women, but this could be with food, with drugs, with alcohol. Is there something he's addicted to? Can he say no to himself despite wanting to do something in the moment? So let's say we're going to look at food, right? And let's say, for example, he says, you know what, I've been really trying to cut down on my sugar and eating, I want to eat better foods. So look at, how does he handle eating food? How does he handle temptation with food? Is he the kind of guy who, okay, even though he knows that he doesn't want to eat cake, he still buys it and it's in his fridge and it's there for temptation? Or is he the kind of guy who goes, you know what, I recognize I may want to do this right now, but because of my long-term goal, I'm not even going to put this in my vicinity. That is very attractive, and that is definitely a green flag. A guy who can refrain from putting himself in the environment of temptation is a guy who is more likely to have a straight, narrow path. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I'm not even a Christian, but you know what? These scripture, they're speaking facts. The next green flag you should definitely look out for is that he talks about taking on responsibilities. This goes back as to how he was raised by his father, or what he learns from his father. Is he the kind of man who wants to be responsible for the things in his life, but maybe even the things in someone else's life? I truly believe that part of becoming a man and being a capable man is being able to take on responsibilities that are outside of yourself. If you're looking for a husband that you can rely on, you're looking for somebody who's going to be a good father figure, then ultimately he does have to be the kind of guy who can take on responsibilities. And a man who even can do that, but also talks about doing that, that's a very good sign that he is the kind of man who wants to do that for his family and for his children and the people that he cares about. And let's not pretend, it's nice when a guy can take responsibility for you. It's nice when a guy can go, okay, it's going to be my responsibility to get us from here to the restaurant. It's nice when a guy says, okay, it's going to be my responsibility to make sure that you get home safe. I'll walk you home, or I'll walk you to the station, or whatever it is. It's nice when a guy does that. So a guy who openly shows that, hey, this is what I want to do for the woman that I choose, that is a very good sign. This next green flag, which definitely is important and a favorite of mine, is that he is kind to people that he doesn't know. How we treat other people in public is very important in reflecting the kind of person we are. If he's a kind of person that, okay, I'm not going to treat anybody with kindness or generosity with my energy because I either don't know them or because they've not done anything for me, then that's something to be cautious of. Because the kind of precedent that can set, it can be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything for you unless I am gaining something. And I guess this goes back to, there's no such thing as a selfless deed. But if he's someone who can show kindness and generosity with his energy to the waiter when you go out, to a random stranger who maybe gives him a compliment, or to a random stranger that maybe gives you a compliment, right? If you can show a level of kindness and generosity and a non-judgmental stance, then that shows that he's the kind of person that people are going to want to follow. That shows that he's the kind of person that people are going to want to lead them, because when you're kind to people who come into your life, even if they're only in your life for that day, even if they're a stranger, it shows that you are open to them coming onto your team. It shows that this isn't a closed door, but you're open to opportunities. And this isn't just going to help the relationship that you have with him, but if you guys end up staying together, this is going to help you guys' relationship as a whole growing moving forward. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not saying that, if somebody does wrong by him, he's like, hey, that's okay. Come into my house. Let me cook for you. I'm not saying you should do that, because that can be like, okay, you're being a little bit, you should probably scold the person who did you wrong, right? But it's about starting from a place of kindness, starting from a place of generosity. This is what's going to get people on your side and on his side, and both your relationship side. And this next green flag that is probably sponsored by Jordan Peterson, yeah, I know, I said it, is that he keeps his place clean and tidy. How we are in our home is a reflection of what our mind is like. When you go to someone's house and there's clothes everywhere, the bed's not made, and it's messy, and it's very scatty, that is usually how they operate in life. Non-punctual, not very reliable. And this doesn't take away from them being a great person. This doesn't take away from them being a good person with good intentions. But this just shows how they move through life. And look, sometimes life is hard, so it's important to have someone that you can rely on and who can be a rock for you. So if he is someone who is tidy, he has a tidy place, he makes his bed, he does clean, etc. He takes pride in having a clean and tidy home, then this is usually a reflection of his state of mind, about how he sees things, about being clean, about being integral, about maintaining a standard. Because the truth is, if he has a standard for himself, he's gonna have a standard for the people around him too, which is exactly what we want. We don't want to choose the kind of person who will just take anyone, right? Is there a green flag that you think I missed? Any of these green flags you actually strongly disagree with? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick. Pow.